you, Tony. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity for me to present the FireFly Metals story today. I'll walk you through who we are, what makes the Green Bay copper gold project so unique, and why we believe FireFly is one of the most compelling copper growth stories globally. As always, the full disclaimers apply, and you can find them on our website and in the appendix of the presentation. So do take your time to review them when you have the chance. So FireFly is advancing one of the world's premier copper development projects, the high-grade Green Bay copper gold project in Newfoundland. It delivers the three things we always look for in a project: grade, roughly 2% copper equivalent, which is about 5 times the global average of copper mines right now, and scale, 600 million tons in resource today and growing. And that's in both measured and indicated, as well as inferred categories. That already equates to over 1 million tons of contained copper and 500,000 ounces of gold. And this is a true copper gold project, no other base metals such as zinc and lead. So by value, it's about 80% copper and 20% gold. And in terms of quality, this is a genuine copper deposit producing a clean concentrate from the past producers that Tony mentioned before, with no deleterious elements. On top of that, Green Bay already comes with over 250 million of sunk capital. And so this is really not a greenfield development. It's already a mine site with a head start that saves years and hundreds of millions in capital. And in less than 2 years after acquiring the project, we've already transformed from a 70 million explorer in terms of market cap into an ASX 300 company valued at over $800 million market cap. That growth has been driven by aggressive drilling, resource expansion, and a team with a proven track record of building value for shareholders. And we're currently well-funded with almost 145 million Australian in cash and equivalents, with no debt, no offtake, and no streams. That means maximum flexibility to finance the project with a clean balance sheet. So why copper? Let's start with the copper market. Nowadays, discoveries are quite rare. The rate of new copper deposits being found is at historic lows. And even once you find those deposits, the grades are falling. The average grade of new discoveries is declining. And like I mentioned before, currently they're averaging around 0.5% copper. And the mines are getting deeper, costlier, and slower to permit, especially since social license is quite hard to obtain these days, especially since a lot of copper projects are in areas that don't have access to clean water and are competing for resources against other industries like farming. So at the same time, though, demand is surging. To meet the net zero goal by 2050, the world needs nearly twice the amount of copper that's been mined in history. That's why copper is increasingly called the metal of electrification and is essential for EVs, renewable energy, grid expansion, and artificial intelligence data centers. So against that backdrop, Green Bay, our project, stands out as a rare, high-grade copper project ready to move into development. There's a real scarcity of quality copper and gold projects in the world right now, especially when you look for projects that are offering high grade, large scale, located in tier 1 jurisdictions within a listed company and with ready access to existing infrastructure. So when you do a project filter like that, and you really just end up with the Green Bay project, which is in our hands. So there's a real lack of copper opportunities on the ASX and TSX in terms of investable universe. So capable of potentially producing almost 50,000 tons of copper per year, Green Bay is one of the last projects of this caliber that's not already owned by a major producer. So from an equity perspective, the re-rate opportunity from us bringing this project into production is tremendous. So this scarcity is also why we're already receiving strong inbound interest from corporates, traders, and smelters, even before we've published the economic study. Jurisdiction really matters. I think Garrett also mentioned that before. So Newfoundland came in 8th in the Fraser Institute's ranking of most attractive mining jurisdictions in the world, and 6th for policy friendliness. It's a true Tier 1 jurisdiction with strong government support. To illustrate my point, we've already secured environmental assessment approval for the 1.8 million ton per annum operation in just 45 days after we applied. Compare that with the 4 to 6 year average typical elsewhere. We also have excellent access to infrastructure. We have renewably generated hydropower at 6 cents per kilowatt hour, and the deep water port is only 6 kilometers away. We have year-round paved road access from a commercial airport, which is Deer Lake, and that has daily flight from Toronto and Montreal, and then you drive for an hour and a half along the Trans-Canada Highway to our site. And we're surrounded by skilled and willing local workforce. So this is truly one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. So why do we believe Green Bay is very well positioned? It's a large-scale VMS system that hosts close to 60 million tons of combined M&I and inferred resources, grading 2% copper equivalent, and is still growing. As I mentioned before, previous owners have invested over 250 million of sunk capital, including 20 kilometers of underground development, a shaft that's currently used for ventilation, processing facilities, hydropower connection, workshops, admin buildings, and year-round infrastructure, all in excellent working condition. And the ore that they used to produced a very clean concentrate, exactly what the smelters wanted. It was up to 28% copper value copper percentage, and the gold credit was 10 to 15 grams per ton. We have achieved metallurgical recoveries in the lab of 98% recovery of copper and 85% of gold. At the time that the market is short of high-quality copper concentrates, this product will command strong demand. We applied to restart the production at an upscaled 1.8 million tons throughput and received the provincial environmental approval after only 45 days, like I mentioned, and it allows us to apply for construction permits and progress toward construction and restart very quickly. So to summarize our financial strength, we have no debt, no streams, and no offtakes. And 67% of our shares are in institutional hands, led by the BlackRock Group out of London. Insider ownership is 8%, ensuring that we're fully aligned with our shareholders. We recently raised around 100 million Aussie dollars, bringing our cash and equivalents balance to approximately 145 million, which fully funds us to investment decision and even some early works. We're covered by 9 analysts in both Australia and Canada, with an average target price of $1.70. This clean balance sheet and financial strength mean that we can move forward without undue dilution. So our team has a really strong track record of creating value for shareholders, including our board and management team. This is the same team behind companies like Bellevue Gold, Ming Mine, Griffin Minerals, and G Mining, all of which delivered significant shareholder value. We've also built a very strong in-country team in Newfoundland with operational expertise to take Green Bay from exploration through to production. So Green Bay is a really large-scale VMS system with 2 main mineralization styles. We have a high-grade VMS lens that sits on top of a broader footwall zone. As you can see, the upper lens VMS system has spectacular intercepts. 10 meters at 12% and over 5 meters at 12% copper equivalent, and 3 meters at over almost 12%. These are really exceptional intercepts. And in the broader footwall stringer zone, which is traditionally lower grade, we still have exceptional intercepts like 26 meters at over 5% copper equivalent and 86 meters at almost close to 4%. Both zones are open at depth, and the drill campaign continues to extend the ore body, with copper grades holding strong. So this is a picture of the ore body when we first purchased the asset, and this part was the ore body that we inherited. So this purple bit shows the resource boundary from before. So you can see that over here, there's some it really lacked some information, which contributed to why the previous owners did not do a good job at making money out of this ore body. And this graph shows the drilling that we have done since we acquired the project. So from underground alone, we drilled more than 100,000 meters. And putting the two together, this is the density of information that we have achieved. So as you can see, it's really well drilled out. And so we have very high confidence in terms of the resource. And this part is the 20 million tons of resource that we added that I mentioned before. And these two drill holes they're currently the lowest drill holes that we've done. They're sitting at 1,500 meters. As you can see, it can be easily drilled off from this exploration drill drive that we developed ourselves. And we have actually done a downhole EM survey in the deepest hole that we've done here. And we have actually identified another 700 meters of conductive response. So we're quite confident because this ore body is hosted in chalcopyrite, which is conducts electricity. So we're quite confident that's a sign that this ore body keeps on going. So just to quickly take a look in 3D of what we've got here. So this goldish bit at the top is a VMS lens that I was talking about, which is very high grade in gold and also high grade in copper. And then the broad footwall zone underneath actually measures 200 meters wide, 200 meters thick, and as mentioned before, actually strikes for more than 3 kilometers long now. So this is a true bulk tonnage ore body that surprisingly has really great grade at average 2% copper equivalent. So since acquiring the project in late 2023, we have actually created a lot of tangible value through the drill bit already. We've drilled over 200,000 meters, both from underground as well as from surface, and we've increased the resource more than 50% in our first year alone. The last resource update was October 2024, where we added 20 million tons while maintaining the grade. We've also expanded our land package so that we can conduct district scale exploration to find additional mineral resource. Another resource update is actually due later this year, which we expect will capture some of the outstanding intercepts that we've hit recently. While we're drilling aggressively, we're also advancing the development. We're designing a new on-site mill to reset the cost base. And as I mentioned, it's 1.8 million tons per annum. We're evaluating mining method changes to reduce the haulage and operating costs. Engineering studies for paste backfill, tailings, port, and processing are all ongoing. And these studies will underpin a preliminary economic assessment in early 2026, followed by a feasibility study later that year. We see that Green Bay is the start of a district scale story. Our 346 square kilometers land package covers multiple prospective VMS horizons and includes 8 historic mines. And regional drilling has already returned hits like close to 30 meters at over 4 grams per ton gold and 0.5% copper, and 10 meters at almost close to 6 grams per ton gold and over 1% copper. And that's just only less than 2 kilometers away at the Rambler Main mine. When you put the Rambler Main and East mines, which are past producing mines from the 1960s and 70s, when you put them on a cross section with Ming to see the relative scale, you see that this mine was only mined to 200 meters deep, and it was not drilled off below that. And the 2 intercepts that I mentioned before are clearly along down plunge from where the historic mining happened. And next steps for us will be to continue to drill deeper and see where the mineralization leads us, and also to find out if there's potentially a bulk tonnage footwall zone, just like at the Ming Mine as well. And it would be very interesting if we do find a mirror image of Ming less than 2 kilometers away only. So this is the first time the entire land package has been consolidated under one owner. And modern geophysics has identified hundreds of untested conductors in the same orientation as Ming. So this is Ming here, and this is the Rambler Main that I had just been talking about. So you see that these other anomalies all are pointing in the same orientation as the other ones. So we believe this is a true camp scale discovery opportunity, and we're following these up systematically with drilling, and we'll be releasing these results on a regular basis. The next 12 to...
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Because you can wrap a little bit so we can have several minutes to the Q&A session. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was just going to mention the catalysts, and I'll finish on this slide.
Okay.
So the next 12 to 18 months are very catalyst rich for us. We'll be publishing another resource update later this year in probably November. We'll have continuous drill results from both underground and surface. And we'll also have regional exploration discoveries to announce, and PEA study in Q1 of 26, and followed by a feasibility study in Q2 or middle of next year. So we believe that these milestones will further de-risk the project and continue to build shareholder value. So I'll leave it at this.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. Thank you for the presentation. There's several questions from the attendees. So first is that you're listed in both ASX and TSX. Do you currently have more Australian shareholders than North America, or the other way around?
Yeah, we currently have more Australian shareholders. It's true, most of our shares are held on the ASX, but we actually have a lot of TSX shareholders who acquired shares on the ASX because of the better liquidity. But liquidity is starting to improve on the TSX, and especially recently since we were just included on the ASX 300. And so that's resulting in a lot of liquidity on both exchanges.
I see. Next question is that, are there any potential M&A opportunities or partnerships on the horizon for FireFly?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we do have a lot of interest from various parties, including strategic players such as copper producers and gold producers. They're all looking to increase production, and like I mentioned, discovery rates are really are decreasing recently. So they're all wanting to take a look at what we have, but obviously we are our job is to create the largest shareholder value for our shareholders. So yeah, all the opportunities are open for us.
Got it. The last question is that copper price seems to be up and down in recent months. Will such movements affect FireFly's operating costs and future plan?
Yeah, so we're pretty far from production still. So even though we have a lot of some capital invested already, we do think we're probably at least 2 years away from production. So I think recent volatility in copper prices really doesn't affect us. And obviously, when we do our engineering study and assess the NPV, the return of the project, we'll be using very conservative long-term copper prices and not just kind of pick, the highest price we can pick.